What a special occasion tomorrow night could be as we get ready for our Europa League second leg of this semi-final. We've had some magical moments at Old Trafford and that could happen again tomorrow night. Who knows what happens in our fight for European football for next season. Joining me, I have got the athletic journalist once again, Laurie Whitwell. How are you?
I'm good, Zara. This is always a pleasure.
Oh, well, that's lovely news then.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this game because we know that this could be an iconic moment in our history.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. You know, United does have a long storied history with European football, but even so, these kind of occasions don't come around that often. I think it's 5 European victories in finals, obviously, as the banner showed us before the Lyon game. A few more finals that they've lost aside from that, and obviously a few semi-finals. But it's a rare occurrence that you get to this stage of European competition, so it's something to be savoured.
What's the exciting news that's come out of Athletic Club so far is that the Williams brothers are out, and I'm guessing
exciting, Zara.
This news is that going to be a joy to the Manchester United players?
Yeah, obviously those two are real lethal players. Nico Williams in particular, was a key component of Spain winning the European Championship last summer. So his absence is going to be really telling. He didn't actually have the greatest game, I don't think, over in Bilbao. So maybe that's, I don't know if he was holding something then. But those two guys are obviously so vital to what Bilbao Athletic Club can do. So for them to be out, it does give United that pep, doesn't it? It gives them that feel that, OK, if we can keep it tight early on, just make sure that there's no, early concession that then sort of sets the nerves jangling.
I mean, that's what we want. We want a fairly easy game, but we've kind of enjoyed taking it the hard way, obviously, during these games, making everyone, making sure everyone's on the edge of their seats, and hopefully we'll get a closer look of these players today because who knows, especially with the players returning from injury as well. Ahmad that we've seen at the weekend, he could be very much involved.
Great, wasn't it, to see? We were chatting about him last time we spoke and whether or not he'd actually get the minutes over in Bilbao, and then obviously away at Brentford, got off the bench and showed that he still got that spark, that sort of energy to run into the box, the skill, great finish. Okay, it took a little bit of deflection, but the way he hit the ball was so powerful that's what we have grown to become familiar with over this season, that could have cutting in from the edge of the box and hitting it firm and true. Reminded me of those goals against Southampton, really, the hat-trick that he scored that sort of saved that defeat and turned it into a victory. So if he can do something like that in these couple of Europa League games to come, hopefully, then I think that's a real big boost for United.
It is, and we know that the magnitude of the job at hand tomorrow night, and I'm sure that's the message that Ruben has been telling everyone.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, as soon as the game finished over in Bilbao, he was saying, this is not over, this is half-time. And certainly we saw last night with the Champions League that crazy things can happen. That was, in the end, 4-3 on the night. I think everybody had written off Inter from that game. Barcelona were looking so strong, and then they were able to turn it round. And then you obviously can remember the Lyon game at Old Trafford where, United looked dead and buried and, 2 goals down, sort of 6 or 7 minutes to go in the game. United were able to turn that around to 3 goals in extra time, in a short space of time. So, Athletic Club have got 90 minutes to try and turn this tie around. And so that's why I think Amorim made sure that as soon as the game was finished over there, that there was no sense of this being job done. And they absolutely have to be focused, have to be full of energy, they have to be concentrating the whole way through because, we've seen in European competition this season that anything can happen.
Anything can happen, but if you looked at the scoreline, you'd think that a 3-0 advantage here is going to be something that makes the difference.
Well, 133 times a side has won away in Europa League, UEFA Cup, by 3-goal margin or more since the competition started, and they have not lost the second leg. They've all gone through, every single one of them. So that's a 100% success rate. So that stat certainly shows that United can be confident at Old Trafford. And here we have another gauntlet. Is this going to be Mason Mount again?
It could be for his goal.
OK, scored the goal at Brentford. He only scores at Brentford, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He enjoys it there, he said.
Did I say this to you, that he was going to score? Is this somewhere that I've voiced that opinion, or was it just on Talk the Devils or various other platforms where I've been trying to claim?
Is this just you wishing that you were right?
This is just me. Listen, you've got to do a victory lap. When you finally pluck one out of thin air that seems to sort of correlate with what's actually then happened, then I am going to, claim it and say I suggested that Mason Mount was just looking good, right, in terms of getting in the box in the right way, having those shots. And I certainly think that he took his goal well. It was good anticipation, wasn't it? It was an excellent cross by Garnacho. And I tell you what, he could have a role to play as well because he has, scored against, he's assisted against Real Sociedad, hasn't he? Assisted against Leon, assisted in both games actually against Real Sociedad, and scored now against Leicester, Newcastle, and Brentford again. Brilliant goal, wasn't it? So I think he's really in good form. So let's hope that he, can continue that. And I think he's speaking later, isn't he, on the press conference? So that'll be interesting to see what he's got to say.
It will. We'll have to keep our fingers crossed for a great performance from them. But now, one of the stats for this game that we need to keep an eye on is PSG. They beat Manchester United 2-0 in the Champions League in 2019. United went to Paris with a team with a lot of players missing, and they won. So they need to be careful, thinking it's over with no Williams.
Yes, I mean that required a controversial, shall we say, VAR intervention when VAR was still a baby for United to get the win. Still, it was a dramatic, fantastic occasion for United, wasn't it, to go there when nobody gave them a chance and do the business. So yeah, I suppose then the counterpoint to that is it can be done. Okay, that was a 2-goal lead and it was away goals as well. So obviously that then meant as soon as they got the third, they were going through. So at least even if Athletic Club somehow get 3 goals and it's a 3-0 win, then it will go to extra time. You just think that United are going to be full of concentration, and they're not going to let this. The chance, the prize is so big that okay, maybe nerves can creep in, but I think they'll actually make sure that everybody's attention is fully focused. And clearly, they were able to rest a few players, weren't they, on Sunday?
Well, we're having a little closer look here at Ahmad, and as we mentioned before, it's a great boost to the squad, but more so when you look at the creativity there. He's next to Bruno Fernandes. I reckon Bruno's going to be delighted to have that creativity in front of him. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you saw, didn't you, when they were having that good run together, that those two have got a good understanding. Bruno's really come to the fore, hasn't he? He's been absolutely fantastic this season. I was sort of having this debate, is he a shoo-in for player of the season? I mean, maybe Mazraoui you could give an honourable mention to, obviously Ahmad, but he then got injured. So the fact that they're both back together, they can just do things that other players, they can do them, but I think those two have got that consistency about them. They've got that kind of desire, that determination. I mean, I know Ahmed's been injured, but I think he's shown real resilience in his games, getting back defensively. It was interesting, wasn't it, that he actually came on at wing-back, right, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So that's obviously a point at which Ruben Amorim wants to play him, and that then actually does unlock the fact that it's actually more of an attacking system. If you really get it perfect, you've got these wing-backs that are able to get forward and get in the final third and do the business. I hope that's not a bad luck omen, the fact that the sprinklers have just come on to soak a few of the players in their rondos.
Can we talk about bad luck omens, please, Laurie?
Sorry, Zara.
That'd be great.
They're turned off now, there you go.
At least it's not us.
Lapse.
That's the main thing.
Exactly, yeah. We've got the brolly, haven't we, just in case, or the parasol, as we're calling it today, given the Costa del Sol weather. But yeah, fortunately we didn't need to use it.
Yeah, thank goodness for that.
Thank God my umbrella holding skills weren't desired again.
They were terrible, Laurie, to be honest. We're very honest right here.
I know, yeah. Let's reel a peek behind the curtain for the viewers and say that I was awful at holding that umbrella.
The main thing that made that game against Athletic Club so rewarding and so confident was mainly because it seemed like such a controlled victory, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And obviously the red card influenced that greatly, I think, in terms of that measure of control that United were able to just pick their passes and be patient in possession. Because certainly the first 20 minutes, they were a rough ride, I think there was a few nerves out there. I think we saw players giving it away. And, Athletic Club certainly were, vibed by the atmosphere in the place, and they certainly were going forward with it, the high pressing. So I think United can't be too relaxed about that when they're passing the ball out from the back, that they're still going to have players that will press high and try and nick the ball off them and get chances. But I certainly think the way that they then approached it was very mature, against 10 men. Getting that third goal before half-time I think was huge, because it then just made it that extra bit, of a gap. 2 goals does feel, very surmountable, whereas 3 just adds that extra layer of, of difficulty, obviously, for Athletic Club to come back from. And yeah, I mean, if we're being picky, it would have been great to get a 4th goal for United from their perspective, but I think ultimately making sure that it was a clean sheet in Athletic's own stadium was the main point, really.
One of the players that really created those chances the most for us, and also was great in just picking out those passes, was Manuel Ugarte. And he was very much complimented by the whole of journos in the press conference afterwards.
Yeah, he had a bit of a rough start, didn't he? Because I think he was giving the ball away and maybe just getting pushed off possession a little bit. But that, I guess, shows the resilience that he's got mentally to then actually respond to that with those crucial moments. You know, obviously the glance to get Casemiro. It'd be interesting to know whether he sort of was trying to go for goal there or whether that was a deliberate sort of knock on to get Casemiro at the far post. It was great, that move. I love that. I mean, obviously Harry Maguire's moment in the sunshine continues with that fantastic wing play. But also the fact that United had so many men in the box, and I know it's from a set piece, but that's the kind of thing I think that Ruben Amorim ultimately wants to get to, where you've got even defenders in the box, you know, the kind of outside centre-backs getting forwards and putting crosses in or trying to get on the end of things. So that was a moment to savour, certainly. And yeah, Ugarte's flick for Fernandez's second goal was absolutely superb. I mean, perfect timing, perfect weight on the pass. It allowed Bruno just to run onto the ball and finish it into the corner.
You've mentioned Harry Maguire there, and I think that's the player's name that everyone is talking about at the moment. You even see England, they're currently tweeting about all of his dribbling and training, everything he's getting involved in. What position can't he play?
Well, exactly. I remember one of those clips actually that England put out at the time when he was sort of, really fleet-footed in a rondo and was kind of keeping it away from, players that you consider perhaps more technically gifted. But he's obviously got that in his bag. We did a piece actually on The Athletic where we looked into his background, and he actually started up top for his grassroots team, Brunsmere, which was managed by his dad at the time. And apparently he jokes when he goes back that he started up front, then went into midfield. His dad put him in defence, and he was worried he was going to end up as goalkeeper. So yeah, maybe he has got the full range of ability. I mean, let's hope that he isn't called upon to do a John O'Shea or a Rio Ferdinand and get the gloves on. But yeah, I think it's certainly a credit to him and his personality that he's been able to come through those very difficult moments when he was the focus of so much attention for the wrong reasons, to then come and make these really telling contributions. I mean, the goal that he scored against Lyon, the fourth goal that he scored this season, all four of them have been important. Ipswich, that was turned a draw into a win when they were with 10 men in a really crucial period of the season for United. What was the other one? Then they had the goal in Porto, obviously, the 3-3, when United were down to 10 men again. And then there was another goal as well in added time against Leicester in the FA Cup. So all these, that was to win it, obviously. And so all these moments, that's what you need in knockout football, people to stand up in the hard times and show themselves for what they are.
I mean, with Harry Maguire, it's one of the things that he is just humble throughout.
Yeah.
And if anyone at home does get a chance, make sure you check it out on the Manchester United app in his post-match interview, because he was just so complimentary about the training sessions that happen and how he just feels that freedom now, and he's not felt that for quite a couple of years.
Yeah, it's obviously different approaches, isn't it, right, from manager to manager, and you'll get players that like certain things and dislike other things from a coach's point of view. Certainly Ruben Amorim, I think, has said himself that he's adjusting to the Premier League and trying to figure out exactly what is required in each game and also what players can do. We heard that with Casemiro in terms of making sure that he actually doesn't have to run in the kind of crazy way that perhaps was being asked previously, and then he's come to the fore, hasn't he, Casemiro, in this crucial period. So I think they're the kind of aspects that players maybe then respond to. We certainly saw one of his early sessions, didn't we, where he was telling them very strongly to run back hard, and I think that's the kind of fundamental view that he has. And so that can sometimes, players can perhaps think, well, this is really hard work and it's a lot of physical exertion, but clearly there must be that element of ball play in the sessions that make it enjoyable.
We need to talk about the atmosphere in training ahead of this game, because last time out when we did this live training session, the atmosphere seemed the same. It's fun, it's that enjoyment of football. That's what Ruben says, that they need to be a unit all together, and that's the kind of vibe that we're getting now. Yeah,
I mean, I suppose it's a snapshot, isn't it? So we don't know exactly what happens when the cameras aren't rolling. But, I think we've always seen that kind of relationship between the players, and the fact that they are, I think, get on well. Like there was that bowling session that they had previously in the season, and those kind of things that they'll do for social activities, I think certainly help blend the players together. Ruben Amorim's also said about pre-season being an essential part of what he wants to create, that feel-good factor as well.
Okay, so it seems that everyone here is getting ready to escape these Carrington pitches, maybe because of those sprinklers, who knows?
Yeah, got keep your eyes keen, haven't you, on those? I mean, they were wreaking havoc with the cameramen before open training. I thought they'd be sorted out, but yeah, the players got a little bit as well. But it is quite hot, so to be fair, a few of them might have quite appreciated the water to
It's a
cool
little
them
bit
down.
of a cool down,
Yeah.
for sure. But thank you very much for joining me, and thanks to you guys at home for watching too. There is still plenty more action where that came from. You've got the press conference later on today, and you'll hear from Ruben Amorim with his interview with Mark Sullivan later on. And then tomorrow, all of that matchday build-up starts from 4 o'clock with our Team Arrival show. See you then.